Well, guys, we are back for another episode of the Liberal Asshole Show, episode 87. And what are today's topics?
Referendum results and Native American issues, Hamas attacks Israel, Cornel West runs as independent, US-Venezuela Agreement, CNBC raging over American support strikers, Trump doxes judge against him, and Sidney Powell turns on Trump.
And he just cannot keep his mouth shut, and oh boy, can't wait to get to that. So, what do we start off with first?
We'll start off with the referendum results.
Yep. Since we covered this last week, and we were going to cover it here, so, what are the results?
Went down in flames.
Unfortunately, and what were the results?
Every state voted no, and the Northern Territory voted no as well. Only the ACT voted yes.
That is unfortunate, and do you know what happened?
Misinformation and disinformation works, and the Yes campaign did not get off the ground. Actually, you can play the video by Swollen Pickles, but it's 11 minutes, a little long, but it basically summarizes my thoughts.
Alright, so let's check this out as I get you all set up with OBS over here. Here we go.
A lot of us probably laughed when the UK made this guy their Prime Minister, then laughed again when they voted for Brexit, and again when they inevitably realised they'd been duped and made a big mistake. A lot of us probably laughed when this guy announced he was running for President of the USA, and then laughed some more when he actually won the election. Well, now the world's looking at us, and they're not laughing, they're just wondering what the actual
Crikey dingo.
It would appear that the majority of Australians have proven themselves equally as gullible and susceptible to post-truth campaigning as our friends in the US and the UK.
Hey, it's called Americanization. You know how it works.
The Murdoch. Yep, all three of us are part of the Murdoch fascist triumvirate.
Anthony Green has called it at 7:24 p.m. The Indigenous voice referendum has been defeated.
Let's speak plainly. On the weekend,
in an hour and a half.
Yep. As disappointed as you all voted not to become a Republic in 1999.
Australians decided that they did not want to recognise Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders in the Constitution, and they did not want to create a non-binding advisory body. For a majority of Australians, that very simple ask was just too much.
Since you talked about this in the last episode, maybe you want to refresh people who didn't see last episode what this referendum was about?
A non-binding advisory body of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders that would advise the government about issues affecting them and the potential solutions.
Yeah, non-binding, just even listen to them. Apparently that's too much. Something we need for Native Americans.
The majority of Australians voted to ensure that the status quo was maintained, that the disadvantage experienced by arguably the most marginalised members of our society will remain. I think that's worth reflecting on. No supporters, including Gina Reinhardt, and God knows who else, but definitely don't call them elites, partied on behind closed doors on Saturday night, enjoying canapes to celebrate the fact that Trump-style campaigning does work in Australia, and that Australia remains the only first world nation with a colonial history that does not recognise its first people in the Constitution. Was I surprised by the result? Nah, disappointed, but definitely not surprised. There'd been enough polling done in the lead up to this referendum to know where this thing was headed. You can try and deny polling all you like.
Wait, let me look at that again. If this thing is correct, it looks like back, before October of last year, they had over 60% chance of passing. And then it went down after that.
In the lead up to this referendum to know where this thing was headed. You can try and deny polling all you like, and many people did try, but the reality is when it's conducted frequently by a variety of companies over an extended period of time, you can be fairly confident it's on the money. So why did the referendum fail? I mean, it's easy to point to the fact that no referendum in Australia has succeeded without bipartisan support, and yeah, this would have played a massive role. And it's true to say that the proposal was enjoying widespread support prior to the opposition throwing their time and money behind the no vote. But does anyone truly believe that bipartisan support was possible on this issue with the coalition in the current state? Remember, Dutton had decided to push the no case even before the parliamentary inquiry into the proposal had kicked off. The National Party had already made their opposition to the voice clear even months before that. You can't fault Albanese for keeping his promise to the Indigenous community. He said he'd deliver the referendum in his first term, and he's delivered. He's ticked that box. But this needed to be more than a box-ticking exercise. The government didn't do a great job of selling the proposal. and did an even worse job of countering the rampant misinformation that was constantly thrown out.
Hello, Democrats!
From the moment the coalition formally stepped out and put their weight behind it.
Does he explain how bad it was, or do you need to explain about it better?
It was horrific. It was endless. He kind of does. He does go into at least some detail about it.
Do they rival Democrats in terms of incompetence?
They're not that bad, but that's not really saying that much.
The referendum was flooded with misinformation and lies on a scale we haven't seen before in Australian politics. Misinformation can be hard to counter. Repetition can transform misinformation into fact in the minds of people very quickly, and it often targets ingrained biases people already have. Dutton and his pals were quick to muddy the waters, and in the first few months the yes camp were quite quiet, which allowed the no camp to suck up all the oxygen from the room.
The no campaign was led by Fair Australia's Matt Sheehan and Steve Doyle.
But the big problem, which we discovered and which we suspected, was very few people knew about the referendum. But this was an opportunity, as it gave us a chance to shape the conversation, to talk about things like the Uluru Statement and treaties.
Who invited you down there? Man up here in America.
A lot of the issues that Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and others have been caught up in have been specifically, strategically brought up by Advance.
By the time the yes camp really got moving, it was far too late. Maybe the yes camp went into this expecting a fair fight.
C-Spot running clip, I remember that movie.
Misinformation, though, the government need to take a certain amount of responsibility here. The Labor government had the opportunity to support the Stop the Lies bill prior to the referendum.
Prime Minister, right now it's perfectly legal for political parties and politicians to lie in advertising for elections and referendums. I tabled my Stop the Lies bill yesterday to stop this. Will the government support regulating against misleading and deceptive advertising in election and referenda advertising to ensure a fact-based, respectful debate on The Voice?
Spoiler alert, the answer was no. Labor sided with the coalition to block the Stop the Lies bill. The timing was bad. No doubt Albo thought that the referendum could ride the wave of goodwill his new government was experiencing by virtue of not being Scott Morrison. This was a mistake. Maybe if the referendum had run in the first 6 months of forming government, it may have been the case. But the timing now, though, without bipartisan support, was just bad. Cost of living is top of mind for a majority of the population. The polling will tell us this. When cost of living really started to bite, it's no coincidence that support for The Voice began dropping. According to the most recent Resolve poll, one of the most common reasons for voting no was that everyone should be treated the same. Peeling that back, it's hard not to think that this assessment is pretty spot on.
And it's interesting as well, I think, now that we can see that wealthier electorates were more inclined to vote yes. And I think if we really peel back some of the rhetoric that was reasons why people were voting no, underneath it was, what are they getting that I don't have? Yeah. I think that was really what people were saying.
Yeah. That's what we just call being like really privileged and ignorant of the problem.
Crisis, it's a hard time for some people.
Well, unfortunately, in Australia, the cost of living is actually a pretty major issue.
Even so, it shouldn't be that hard to just still vote yes. Like, come on, it's pretty simple.
Like they should get more than me.
I know, really but again, muddying the waters really worked on it.
Yep, no idea how can anyone be this dumb to fall for this crap. It's obvious. You vote yes and shut up.
Could the government have released an exposure draft of the legislation before the referendum? Sure. Do I think it would have made any difference? No. It would only have provided the no case more fuel to spread doubt and misinformation. The no camp was smart in making Jacinta Price their figurehead. She was able to say things that Dutton couldn't.
Do you believe the history of colonisation continues to have an impact on some Indigenous Australians?
No.
Well, that's incorrect.
I'll be honest with you. No, I don't think so. Positive impact, absolutely. I mean, now we've got
colonization has a positive impact. Yeah, sure. Yep. Crazy Karen.
Yeah, she's Aboriginal, so she.
No, she's one of those people. Oh gosh.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Food. There's no ongoing negative impacts of colonisation.
Yeah, just like the Native Americans are doing peachy fine right now. I bet you'd say that too.
I would tell many people in the community what they were wanting to hear.
We are absolutely not a racist country.
Having two Indigenous people front the No campaign did enough to create doubt that Perhaps this wasn't something that the majority of Indigenous people wanted. I guess for quite a few people, this was the
common
green light that they
conservative trick. Always get minorities that agree with you to go, see, we're not racist. You think these people would support us if we were racist? Nah. It's not like they buckle to our interests.
There was a lot of noise from the no camp in the lead up to the referendum that there was no real support for the voice among Indigenous communities.
Okay.
It's too little and too late, but that lie has quickly been dragged out into the sunlight, despite Senator Price trying to give it another run in her victory speech.
Where it was suggested that 80% of Indigenous Australians supported this proposal when we knew that was not the case.
And according to this thing right here, it says 80% of Aboriginals support it. Seems like a liar, of course.
Yeah.
When I knew, having spoken to people throughout the Northern Territory, to Indigenous people from the Northern Territory and right across the country, particularly in my role as the Shadow Minister for Indigenous Australians, that a vast group of Indigenous Australians did not support this proposal.
Okay.
And it has been a shame that throughout the campaign that we have been accused of misleading this country through disinformation and misinformation.
Which is exactly what you did.
It's unfortunate that there'll be Australians slowly coming to the realisation that the voice was supported by a majority of Indigenous people, and overwhelmingly supported by those in remote areas, those that stood to gain the most. The support was there, it was always there. Whether it was 60, 70 or 80% by the time the final siren rang, majority support was there. For me, a major mistake of the Yes campaign was the lack of polling of Indigenous communities leading up to the referendum. There were only 3 polls that looked at support for the voice among the Indigenous population. 2 done earlier in the year, and 1 dropping in the last week. They all raised questions. Relying on 2 polls from the start of the year was a mistake. Not getting out and polling Indigenous communities in the lead-up was a mistake. Being unable to accurately demonstrate the level of Indigenous support for the voice was a weakness of the campaign.
My dad's off. My
the
dad's
reasons
sick
given
at the
for
moment,
voting
so my mum was
generally
just coming in. I was talking to him at that point.
I don't understand.
Talking to her about what to do today.
And they were just showing polls how, like, they only did, like, 3 polls of Aboriginals back in the early part of the year. It was, like, 90% support. And by, like, a few months ago, it was, like, 59%. Oh, my God. It sounds like even they were buying the bullshit, unfortunately. But even so, it's still the majority that supported it.
It was some of the more, the final thing was, like, 79%.
Yeah.
But also, it was more the progressive, the leftist argument for no, which I don't remember what it was because because that one was drowned out by the far right fascists.
And they already have enough privileges and money spent on them. They don't appreciate it.
Wait. Common reasons for vote no. Division, inequality built into the proposal. A yes vote would split the nation in 2. Yeah, sure. I guess you heard that very often.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. That sounds like something conservatives here would say. The campaign has already stated...
Don't support racist laws. No.
The campaign has already stated to do that. Everyone should be treated the same. Well, yeah, that's what the bill is for. To help give Aboriginals an actual voice, because, they don't have that. This is discrimination by definition. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Who buys this crap? How dumb can you be?
A lot of people.
Oh my God. No. Vote no is actual discrimination, you idiots. The next reason. All Indigenous people are not behind, do not want this. A lot of elders don't seem to want this, and the no campaigners are all Aboriginal. Well, just because they are doesn't mean it's true. Nor do they represent all Aboriginals. Many Aboriginal people are saying no to this, so why should other people support it? The polls showed the majority still agree. Even the worst one was like 59%, so no, the majority says they do support it. Then the next reason. Not needed, they are represented, already receive preferential treatment. Just like Native Americans do? Well, since you're there, we gotta say about this one.
That is so not true.
Aboriginal...
We know that.
Aboriginal people already have the same voice as everyone else in Parliament and a minister. Any proof to that claim?
Yeah, but we still don't listen to them 99% of them. We still don't...
Like Native Americans, you mean? Communities already have a lot of input at a state and territorial level, which is where it's needed. If they were, they would not be in bad shape as they are now, would they? Just like Native Americans. They already have enough privileges and money spent on them. They don't appreciate it. That sounds like something Republicans would say to blacks here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Racial undertone big time there. They don't appreciate their privilege. Oh my god. How much you want to bet they're going to soon say they're more privileged than whites now? I'm waiting for it.
They already have been.
I'm waiting to see it here. I wonder if I'll see in the video. Political motivations and a distraction from important issues. This is labor trying to distract everyone from the failures to address living costs.
They could walk and chew gum at the same time, people.
Yep. This is it's a wedge that's gone wrong. It's completely backfired on Abo. I don't know about that. They are being very shady about it. Why won't they answer basic questions? Why won't the people that vote no answer basic questions instead of lying about it? This shouldn't be that hard. All right, then no detail confused or problems with the design
this Peter Dutton was given all the details. But he voted no. He said he's going to say no before he was shown to all of them. He was given he was told about all the details, but of course he decided that, you know what, I'm going to vote no, and no amount of detail is going to convince me because I'm a bad person, because I'm a wannabe Trumpist.
Because that's how we all know how conservatives are deep down.
Yep.
All right, the next one. No details confused or problems with design per Macy. I don't understand the concept. If they can't be bothered to explain it, I'll vote no. I'm sure people do explain it to you.
They did. Yep, they did. They tried.
And best case scenario, maybe you're just too stupid or ignorant to understand what the issue is, or more likely you're just maliciously no against it no matter what. This is going to be a complete waste of time and money. It's not going to work. You know, maybe it wouldn't work. Maybe it wouldn't help Aboriginals.
We've got to do something.
Yeah, you should at least still have the opportunity.
Different. The voice is something different.
Yeah, at least give them that opportunity to see, for crying out loud.
This is
come on.
By definition.
So yeah, what do you guys see about all these excuses?
I'm not surprised.
I'm against racism. Everyone should be treated the same. Many Aboriginal people are saying no to this, so why should other people support it?
Alright, looks like
Aboriginal
talked about this a lot, so you go forward a bit.
Of racism beneath many of the no votes. To try and deny that would be denying reality. You could see this in the way that many attempted to justify their reasoning for voting no, but when you peeled back the layers of the onion, it was there. There was a mantra I'd seen shared often on social media that said something to the effect of, not all no voters are racist, but all racists will vote no. I think that
well, I mean, that's probably very likely.
And that includes Karens like Lydia Thorpe.
What, that Aboriginal woman we saw?
No, this is she's a black separatist, but she's also a mega Karen. The most recent example. Oh, she is. She's absolutely a mega Karen.
Careful. You're going to be called misogynist for saying like I was on the Pokemon Red the other day.
Oh, that's it. She's the one who, she, literally at a nightclub, she was the one seen accosting white people for existing.
Racism against whites, that whole bunch of dumb leftists deny.
Yep.
Sean Kelly writing
or alternatively, they're like, white people deserve racism.
A lot better than I can. I've been struck by the widespread conclusion based on polling that Australians were persuaded by the argument that the voice would divide the country. Voters may well say this is silly, but it is likely that
a lot of
most were
people
instinctively against the idea.
That's wild.
This
is America level stupid.
To justify their choice.
Yep.
This one
That's
sounded
embarrassing.
Understandably,
how can you guys be as dumb as Americans?
Their good opinion of themselves.
You can thank Rupert Murdoch for that, and his Project the Murdoch Fascist Triumvirate.
Against Indigenous Australians because they hated racism. We are a
Does Australia hate racism? What do you have to say about that?
Oh, no, we don't. We love racism.
As much as America historically?
Considering that we genocided our Aboriginal population, and for the longest time we were basically a Nazi state who considered Aboriginals to be literally be animals. I wish I was joking.
I mean, it does sound like Native Americans. Ugh.
Country that does not know itself. I'm sure Dutton and co will do their best to lay blame for the referendum's failure at the...
So your Prime Minister is facing calls to resign because of the failure. We gotta see about that one.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
But do you, support or no?
No.
Hasn't he been good because any part of Labour?
He's been...
Like Biden.
Pretty close, actually. Better than expect. But he's from the right thing, Splank. So he's kind of a corporate Democrat. But he's actually done some good stuff.
For the referendum's failure at the feet of Albo. Because after all, that was their real reason for opposing it in the first place. They were just trying to take some skin off the government and weaken them heading toward 2025. Ironically though, this could have the opposite effect for Dutton. It's no real surprise that the Teal seats all seem to have backed the voice. And it's unlikely that the people within those electorates will forget Dutton's stance or the methods deployed to get the no result over the line. So what are the coalition's big plans for addressing the issues now they've successfully sunk the referendum? Well, they
don't have one
of where the money has gone, which will be interesting given they were in government for close to 10 years. And Dutton has found an Indigenous voice he's actually willing to listen to. Other than that, not much. Here's a fact people may find uncomfortable. Education was the biggest indicator of how a particular electorate or community might vote. Of the seats to have voted yes, all were among the top third
this is expected.
Country.
When you're more educated, the more liberal you are.
Yep.
This is not even an American thing. This is everywhere. No shit.
In terms of education attainment.
And that's why conservatives don't like education, because when you're smart, you don't become a conservatard.
Yep, you don't become a conservative.
To see a body of research emerging that would indicate that there's a relationship between a person's susceptibility to misinformation and their education level. The higher the level of
the more educated you are, you're more likely to not believe the COVID lies that happened a few years ago, or spot fake news when you see it.
Education, the less likely someone is to swallow misinformation. This referendum should serve as a warning to the government. If they don't pony up and put a stop to the misinformation in political campaigning, by the time 2025 rolls around, we can expect to see an election campaign that might even make Donald Trump blush.
So yeah, what do you gotta say about this?
Yeah, that pretty much summarizes what my thoughts about the about what happened with the polls. Yeah, and yeah, 2025 is looking like it's gonna get ugly, very ugly.
What,
I've said that. As in, I'm potentially talking January 6th ugly.
Ugh. So, it's like...
And I'm not just... Because here's the thing. One's already got, had their January 6th. I am certain that, the next election, if it doesn't go the way of the Conservatives, that the UK will probably have their Jan 6, and then Australia will have their Jan 6 shortly afterwards. When Dutton loses and decides, you know what? I'm going to try and overturn the election. Rigged. Jan 6, do a Jan 6.
But here's the thing, too. They'll have to realize they'll have to face the same consequences like Trump and Bolsonaro did when they tried it.
Yep.
And you would think they would remember, when Trump and Bolsonaro did that did not help them out whatsoever. So if we do this is going to make us even less likely to win. So why bother? Just take the L. Majority of people don't agree with your policies. Deal with it. Not that big of a deal. So yeah, do you want to do a major rage and rant about this fail in the past?
Didn't really need to. Like I said, the video did a good job, but yeah, it's frustrating that the no vote won, though I knew that the yes vote would have a difficult time getting up.
Yeah. And of course, guys, no, this needed to pass. Aboriginals and Native Americans are not in a good spot. I shouldn't have to explain it. Guys, the European colonists, we came in there. We killed them. We genocided them. We took their lands. And what do Native Americans have now? Stuck on reservations with, like, no support whatsoever. They have major alcoholism. Some of the poorest groups in the country, they're, like, up there as one of the worst off people in America. And what do conservatives cry about? They get, like, casinos and stuff like that. Yeah, sure. Like, that's going to make all the help after what we did to them, for crying out loud. Shut the fuck up. Native Americans need major support to help them build up. They deserve, like, so much stuff after what we did for them for hundreds of years. Same goes for Aboriginals and everyone else that had their lands taken from European colonialization. There is no excuse about it, but of course conservatives always got to have their excuses.
Of course.
God. So yeah, fuck off, you voted no on this, and I hope something like this happens to America, and then I can laugh at conservatards raging about this, because, treat Native Americans like people instead of animals like we fought them for hundreds of years. Oh, the nerve of them to be treated right. And you know what else too is? The good thing we talk about this, as this would be a good segue into the next topic.
Yep.
And
Hamas attacking Israel. Yep.
Yep, and of course, this is probably going to be a long one too. And for all of you who don't know, this literally happened when we were filming the last episode, and I didn't find out until hours later. This happened while we were doing the last episode. So, of course, back on October 7th, Hamas did a major terrorist attack on Israel, and they killed up to, I think, 1,400 people, which is insane. And to put this into perspective, guys, with Israel's population, which I think is like somewhere between 6 and 9 million, this would be equivalent to like 17,000 people dying on 9/11 in terms of proportion to population.
9.3 million.
Like, Israel lost more people than we did on 9/11 proportionate to our population size. Like, they suffered way more because of it. And Hamas actually invaded parts of Israel too, and all that.
Yep.
It was absolutely insane and barbaric what they did. Absolutely evil and condemnable. Now, of course, Israel is now at war with Hamas, and this is where we're going to get to the next part in a moment.
We know that they've gotten the approval to start the ground invasion genocide.
So yeah, now we're going to get to this, since a lot of people are going to be very triggered by it, but we're going to say it right here, right now. Yes, Hamas is evil and wrong for what they did, and they really are going to deserve what happened to them. But with all that being said, none of this changes the fact that Israel is still 100% in the wrong for decades leading up to this. They don't get a pass because of this. Israel is still an apartheid state, and they are evil. That cannot ever be dismissed. Even if they suffer a terrorist attack, you can't ever ignore it. And I don't want to hear the anti-Semitism. Fuck off with that shit. It's just SJ identity politics crap to try and get away from criticism. Hello, Dave Rubin. Remember he did that all the time? They support gay rights, therefore they're not bad. Oh, fuck off.
I remember that.
Israel is basically...
they actually said, they're basically saying it's anti-Semitic to oppose Israel's far-right government committing genocide on the Palestinians.
Then I guess you're all Islamophobic to genocide the Palestinians then. Oh, right, that's right. You probably are Islamophobic, which, of course, we see in a whole bunch of far-right dipshits, both in Israel and America, that actually do support genocide the Palestinians. Like, a whole bunch of Republican politicians literally have said, guys, that they're no different from Palestinians who have no involvement in this whatsoever. Absolutely barbaric and evil. This is literally no different than how idiot far-right racist dipshits acted after 9/11, when Islamophobia attacks on Muslims and other Arabs went up like 1,400% after 9/11. Absolutely disgusting. So yeah, Israel has done indiscriminate bombings across Gaza, killing thousands of innocent people, and they've blockaded the area. Well, no, they've been blockading for decades, but they're really ramped it up recently. They would not give out, like, water, medicine, all that. Biden pressured them to give some water access, but I don't think it's really enough. Egypt won't let people leave. There's like 2 million people in Gaza right now that literally can't leave, as Israel keeps bombing them and is about to do an invasion on them, and it's probably going to kill a whole bunch of innocent people for absolutely
possibly
no
the
reason.
Entire population.
And all this is because Israel is an apartheid state that keeps trying to kill off the Palestinians and settle their land, which is, guys, no different than what the European colonists did to the Aboriginals and Native Americans. It is no different. We were wrong to do it then. Israel is wrong to do this. And even if they were suffered a terrorist attack, that does not change the fact that they were wrong. Just like America didn't deserve... Remember when we covered... when Hassan said America deserved 9/11?
Yeah.
And as I said... and I said in that when we talked about that, no, America didn't deserve 9/11. But we did do stuff that led to it. Likewise, Israel. You didn't deserve what happened on October 7th, but you did lead to the predicament that led to it. If you don't want to be a victim of a terrorist attack, stop oppressing the Palestinians and leave! Fucking leave! Exactly. And leave them the fuck alone! And stop trying to steal their fucking land! You need to stop! Yep. You're the problem, not the Palestinians. You. You're the problem, that's the end of it. Get out! Fucking hell.
And fuck you, Britain and France, for starting it.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, what do you guys say about this? Makes me
pretty
so
terrible.
You're like, everyone. Oh my gosh. And I don't really know what to say. I'm just so angry about this. This is just so wrong. Hamas. Oh yeah. Oh my god. And of course, the American media. Yeah, we can talk about that too now. American media always talks about what. Always keeps talking about, because Kyle's been covering it. Everyone's been covering it. How everyone keeps telling everyone's involved with like Palestinian groups to, are you going to criticize Hamas? Are you going to condemn Hamas? Condemn Hamas? Condemn Hamas? And then when they do it, they go right back to, are you going to condemn Hamas? Are you going to condemn? They always keep doing this and never talk about the war crimes that Israel has done. And every time they bring it up, they always go, anti-Semitism, against Israel to defend themselves. Shut the fuck up! Israel does not get absolved for the evil stuff they do because they were a victim of a terrorist attack. I'm tired of it. No different than what happened with America. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. Shut the fuck up and go after Israel for once, because they fucking deserve it. And then, oh my god. The amount of stupid people on the left. Oh my god, it reminds me of all the idiots the last year or so with like the tankies and dumb leftists that defend like Russia and China. Yeah. There's so many people that actually are now fervently defending Hamas like they're a revolutionary group, and that innocent Israelis deserve to die and stuff like that. You guys are wacko. You are insane. Israel is in the wrong for what they're doing. Yes, that doesn't mean innocent Israelis deserve to die. Just like all the innocent people on 9/11 didn't deserve to die for what America's involvement in the Middle East for decades. Like, get out of here. You guys are just as batshit far-right insane as all the far-right Orthodox Jews that want to do a settlement in Gaza and the West Bank. You're no different. You're insane. Both you guys are. Absolutely insane. Yeah. Oh my god. It's like Kyle, Mike, Dole, and even Vosh has been like the only rational people on the left that's covered this issue. It's absolutely insane. Like, oh my god, it's so difficult to... I've had such a hard time defending Palestinians when I have to deal with idiots on the left that support Hamas fervently and stuff like that. Oh my god. Oh, it gets me so annoying. So what do you guys say about these stupid leftists like we had to deal with Russo and China files recently? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Oh my god. Yeah.
You're next. It's oh my god. So yeah, this is how we can get out of this issue like once and for all. Israel needs to stop doing settlements. That's the end of it. They need to fully get out of the West Bank and Gaza. They need to stop. They are blockading like their resources. Help them build up. Help the West Bank and Gaza and Palestinians build up their economy and stand to live in all that. And guess what? If they're as financially as good as Israel is, guess what? Terrorism like Hamas groups, all them, if they're not going to be killed by Israel coming up soon, are going to lose power. Because, guys, that's the main reason why people like Hamas gain power. Because Palestine, a lot of it's because of Israel too, is poor. Yep. They're poverty-stricken. Like, they have... Oh, my God, the amount of honestly, right now they're like facing just as bad, if not worse, situation like Native Americans as we covered recently. Like no electricity, no clean water. Like it's really, really, really bad. Half the population's like under 15. Imagine 2 million people in Gaza being under 15 years old. Over half, for crying out loud. Kids, basically. These people are poor, desperate to get out of every situation possible. And then you have Hamas come in acting like freedom fighters, going, see how bad our spot is in? It's because of the Zionist Jews that control Israel. Help join our cause, and we can get rid of them, kill them all, and then we'll finally be successful. That argument is going to work with these people. But if you help build up their economies and make them financially successful, guess what? It doesn't work as well because people realize, oh, we're actually doing fine right now. Like, Israel needs to stop oppressing Palestinians, leave, stop settling their lands, and help build them up. And, of course, maybe the whole entire international community should do it, too. So Israel has to do everything, and that would help the situation. But I'm telling you right now, if Israel does the invasion of Gaza, which they haven't done yet, but wouldn't be surprised if they do it by the time we cover next episode, they're gonna make it worse. Like, they're gonna make it worse. There's no way out of this to make it better other than leave the Palestinians alone and help them build up. There's no other way. That's the end of it. So, fuck all you. I mean, fuck Hamas. Fuck the Israeli government. Fuck all the Zionist settlement retards. And fuck all the freedom fighting Hamas lefty retards. All of you are insane. Oh, yeah, and fuck American media too. Forgot about them. Fuck them too. Yep. Fuck all of you. You're all in the wrong. Israel's wrong. And that is final. Do I make myself clear? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Absolutely easy, irrefutable way to prevent all this from happening. Can be completely avoided, but you have to do that. So, anything else you want to say on this? Because I'm just getting mad.
Oh, it makes me very mad as well.
We've been dealing with this
so you saw the Cole's video where it was like horrible take after horrible take after horrible take after horrible take after horrible take.
Whose video? Whose video? Whose video you said?
Kyle's on it.
Oh yeah, I only saw a part of it. I didn't see the whole thing because I was just so annoyed hearing it. Because I've watched like Vosh and them cover too. Oh my gosh, that reminds me of the one that happened at the City Opera House. Oh my gosh, did you see it?
I remember that. Yes,
I saw that. The Jews and all that.
Yep. And remember that. And remember that the Australian government is using that to greenlight Israel's government genociding the Palestinians.
And then you have that idiot at DSA in New York that acted like all the Israelis that were killed were like just a bunch of hipsters and all that.
Oh, God.
You guys are just demonizing Israelis just like Israel government demonizes Palestinians. You guys are no different. Oh, yeah. All right. I'm getting mad about this. I think it's time we cover something else to calm down. So what's the next topic?
Cornel West running as an independent.
So yeah, this is actually surprising. Now, of course, as we mentioned before, Cornel West is running for president. Now, last time we covered it, when we first announced, remember, guys, he was going to run on the People's Party. Now, of course, we went after him for different reasons. I went after him because it wasn't going to work because they weren't going to have enough electoral votes on it. And then you, of course, informed me about how much scandals the People's Party had. So eventually, he left and joined the Green Party, which makes much more sense since they actually have a chance to actually become president. So, nothing happened afterwards, but I just found out recently that Cornel is now leaving the Green Party, is now going to run as an independent. So, at this point, this is starting to get a little silly and honestly concerning for Cornel. Like, it's one thing to get out of the People's Party, but why are you leaving the Greens? This is the second party you've now left. Like, you do realize this doesn't look good for your chances, which are not really good at all right now. And now you're going to run independent. Like, something's not right here. Yeah. And honestly, Cornel, I think you really should probably consider maybe not bothering to run at all anymore now if you can't even stay with a party for crying out loud. Or maybe, just maybe, hear me out, maybe you should have run as a Democrat from the very start. I know dumb leftists would not like that, but he would have a much better chance, despite all the rigging that they would do, and despite Biden being the incumbent and all that, he would have a much better chance at becoming president, running for a Democrat, than he would as a Green, People's Party, Independent, or whatever. Like, I don't know what's going on here. This is starting to get, like, ridiculous. What do you guys say about this?
It is. Just WTF. Genuine. What the fuck? Genuinely.
And
Genuinely, what the fuck?
And I think I saw a video of, like, Heil or Dole covering recently that there supposedly were info released from the Green Party that Cornell doesn't seem to like campaigning and stuff like that, and keeps him from doing other things. And that might be the reason why he dropped out of the Green Party. Well, if this is true, Cornell, obviously you're not suited to run for president, because you're going to have to do a whole bunch of campaigns. You're going to have to go across the country doing rallies, campaigns, fundraising, stuff like that. If it's not for you, that's fine, but then just don't run for president then. Like, it's not it's not like a simple thing. It's obvious you're just built to be an activist, and that's it. And if that's all you can be, just be an activist. Like, like this has you gotta stop at this point. This is getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised in another few months or so he's gonna be like, I'm dropping out completely, which you really should at this point. Like, this is really silly. This is just getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
It would have been a lot better for you. I'm telling you, people. I know a lot of dumb leftists are going to deny it, but he should have run as a Democrat from the very start. He would have had a much better chance to win, and even if he doesn't win, he would have done what Bernie would have done, and he could have put pressure on Biden to cave on stuff and get the American public more to the left. And that's the whole thing. A lot of things dumb leftists still don't accept.
Yeah.
Even though Bernie didn't win, he did get Americans to become more left-wing. And now the Democrats are forced to deal with the consequences for it if they refuse to change and all that. So yeah, I think there's nothing else really to say on this. Like, Cornell, like, you gotta stop being stupid. This is getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
Alright, so now, on to the next topic.
That would be... Yay, US-Venezuela Agreement!
So yeah, now, of course, the last few years, well, actually, more like the last few decades, when Chavez was in power, now with Maduro too, America has been trying to overthrow the Venezuelan government and all that in order to get all the oil and to have a pro-American regime doing everything they want and all that. Now, of course, nothing happened, thankfully, when Trump left and tried to overthrow the government.
That was only because he was too stupid to do it.
And nothing really happened with Biden. I didn't think anything was going to happen and all that, because remember, he supported Guaido and all that. But nothing happened until last year, when the Russo-Ukraine war happened. America then started doing negotiations with Venezuela to try and increase oil production, to try and lower the cost of oil, which would hurt Russia and all that. Never heard anything about it, because it was like almost 2 years ago now and all that. But now, just yesterday, Kyle did a video on a pretty big agreement, sounds like. And honestly, sounds like too good that even I would think Maduro wouldn't even support. So let's check this out, shall we?
So in the dark days that we're currently witnessing, this is actually something that's positive. This is reported by The Guardian here. U.S. and Venezuela set to agree on sanctions relief and open elections. Reports say announcement likely on Tuesday that would allow banned Maduro opponents to run and oil sanctions to be lifted. So let's get some more of the specifics here. The governments of the U.S. and Venezuela are reportedly poised to announce a deal that could pave the way for sanctions relief on the economically wrecked South American country.
Oh boy, I cannot wait for Biden to get shit on this for doing something good. I'm looking forward to it, just like with Afghanistan, but can't wait for that one.
And for banned opponents of Nicolas Maduro to compete in next year's election. Anonymous sources quoted by 2 U.S. media outlets
he can't do anything good for anyone to support him. Except we're actually giving credit on him.
Yep, far-right retards and dumb leftists, he can never do anything right.
He announced on Tuesday after Maduro officials restarted talks with opposition negotiators in Barbados. The news agency Bloomberg called the move, which comes on the eve of an opposition primary to choose a candidate to challenge Maduro, the first major political concession by the government of Nicolas Maduro in a decade. The Washington Post claimed Venezuela's authoritarian leader would agree to a process for lifting bans on opposition candidates running in the 2024 presidential election, though it is not clear how quickly that process would take place. The U.S. is likely to put a time limit on any sanctions relief, so that it could be reversed if Maduro doesn't comply with his end of the deal.
So looks like that's it for the whole thing. So the agreement is if Venezuela allows opposition people to run against Maduro in 2024, which he's banned a lot of people from running. Even earlier this year, he banned a whole bunch of people running against him in next year's election. So, if he removes these bans and actually allows people to run against him in 2024, America would do some sanction relief. And if he doesn't do it, then nothing happens. So, it's a win-win. Either Venezuela does the right thing and hopefully becomes like a more actual democracy like they are supposed to be, and they get sanction relief, which we'll get to that in a little bit, and that's a win. But if they don't do it, then nothing happens. So it's a win-win, at least in terms of like Biden. And of course, even if they don't ban parties and no deal happens, Republicans are going to still blame him for everything, and you did make a deal with him and stuff like that, as always. And then, of course, you have dumb left being like, it's Biden's fault, nothing happened. Oh, shut the fuck up, you fucking retards. So, this is a win-win. I think we'll get to...
Norway's foreign minister announced on social media that Venezuela's government and opposition would meet in the Barbadian capital, Bridgetown, on Tuesday to restart the dialogue and negotiation process, which broke down in November last year. Maduro took power after the death of his mentor Hugo Chavez in March 2013, but has led their country into a devastating economic and humanitarian slump.
He led to it. Yeah, that's fine. We're going to get to that in a minute.
He became an international pariah following Venezuela's 2018 election, which was widely denounced as a fraud. So, by the way, look, a lot of his own decisions helped wreck his country, but at the same time, there's also been tremendous U.S. economic sanctions on Venezuela,
which is the actual reason
have a colossal impact on civilian populations.
Like, guys, we covered this before. Venezuela is not a resource-rich country like America. Their primary thing is oil. That's the one thing that they're better at. In fact, I think I remember reading a report that Venezuela has the most untapped oil reserves in the world. Like, they have a lot of oil. So, because of that, they're like Russia, basically. Since all they can produce is oil, what they do is they would nationalize their oil industry, they would sell the oil, and then they would use the money to import like food and stuff. Because, guys, Venezuela is very bad when it comes to food security. They're not like America. We can produce all the food we want and export it. Venezuela cannot. They have to import food in order to feed their population of like, I think it was like 30 million people before, but several million people have left over the last decade or so if you want to look it up. But it's over a couple 10 million people. Like, they can't afford to feed themselves. Now, two things happened since in the last 10 years.
28.2 million, peaked 30.74.
What?
Peaked at 30.74 and it's now 28.2.
Okay, yes. Almost 30 million people, basically. That's a lot of people to feed. So
that's more than the population of Australia.
Yep. Two things happened. One, America did sanctions, which prevented them from being able to buy stuff or sell their oil as easily. And America worked with Saudi Arabia to, on purpose, increase production, which then lowered the price of oil, which means Venezuela would get less food. So less food, less money, less food for the people, which led to the unrest and funding everything else. That's what led to Venezuela's economic collapse. It's not it's socialism, as conservatives always say. No, it's American sanctions and Saudi Arabia in cahoots with them to make Venezuela suffer the way it is right now. That's the situation.
Populations. So let's be clear about that. Now, the U.S. wants that oil. And that's why we made this deal. And that shouldn't surprise anybody.
Which makes really no sense because America's the number one oil producer in the world. We don't need that oil, let alone the fact we need to get off of oil for climate change. We don't need this oil for climate change.
If you look at the situation with Russia and Ukraine, that's one reason we want to make sure we keep the oil flowing. If you look at our currently tenuous relationship with Saudi Arabia, where we're kind of everybody's waffling on it a little bit, that's another reason we want the oil. So it's sort of out of desperation that we're like, well, we can go to Venezuela and try to get some of their oil. So it's kind of a political necessity that we do it. So
I think of it more like a good thing to try and pressure Venezuela to actually become more like a democracy, like they're supposed to be. That I think is more of a valid reason to do it.
But look, of course, there's going to be ulterior motives. There's always ulterior motives in politics. And overall, I think this is a step in the right direction. Now, do you trust Maduro and take him at his word? No. But that's why this deal is structured where they're not taking him at his word. It's, they'll judge the election and see whether or not they think it's fair.
like we said, he's banned people that run against him this year alone too. So we'll see if he is able to change with their election next year. I think it's near the end of last year too, so it's like a whole year I think before it actually happens. I might look that up. So yeah, like the deal is, if he does it, Venezuela gets sanctions relief. But if they don't do anything, then literally nothing happens. It's a win-win.
And look, what do we have? Pedro Gustavo, I think, leftist president elected. AMLO, of course, in Mexico, leftist president elected. Lula, leftist president elected in Brazil. And shockingly, under Biden, it wasn't like, okay, they elected a leftist president and immediately let's try to do a CIA coup. Biden has actually, has decided to work with Lula with open arms and has not been meddling.
I mean, I think Brazil might be a little bit too big for America to really try and do anything. I mean, let's be a little bit honest about that. Brazil is not like the rest of South American countries. They are like the America of South America. They're more powerful that they could probably get away. I mean, America would not be able to do anything really to them. And of course, guys, Biden hated Bolsonaro. So why would he fuck Lula over if it means Bolsonaro possibly coming back in? Of course he's going to support Lula. And also, Lula was president when Biden was vice president and all that. And Obama and Lula got along for the 2009 and 2011 when they were presidents of America and Brazil. So I don't see why Biden would not support Lula. That makes no sense.
As much as previous administrations. I mean, Trump tried to do a coup in Venezuela. You guys remember that?
And yes, guys,
wide open.
Trump did try to overthrow the Venezuelan government. Don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear that he was like pro-peace and all that. No. He wanted to overthrow the Venezuelan government, but he thankfully couldn't.
Pretending like he's president when he's not president of Venezuela. That was incredibly comical, but also insane.
Remember the Florida man tries to overthrow the Venezuelan government?
Mm-hmm.
Look, this is a step in the right direction for sure. I hope we relieve the sanctions, which will help Venezuelan civilians. And outside of that, whatever sort of business deal we make with them, it is what it is. And I'd rather have an open business relationship than I would anger and hatred and vitriol and sanctions and an embargo and being on the verge of a coup and all the negative other things that have happened and may continue to happen. But whatever got us to this place, being pushed in a corner when it comes to oil production, I'm happy that we're here. I think we should do the same thing vis-a-vis Cuba. And I think we should continue to make peace deals all over the place as much as humanly possible. So
I don't know if I would really call it a peace deal per se, Kyle. That seems like desperate framing on your part.
Definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah, a bit of a weird frame there.
Much welcome.
I mean, it's still
news
good,
at a
but I don't know if
time
I call
when
it a peace deal.
Hey, y'all, do me.
So yeah, what do you have to say about this?
It's pretty good, as I said. Yeah, as you've said, it's good. So,
and I'm actually go on.
Nice work for Biden, and also fuck anyone who thinks this is bad.
And I'm actually looking up right now. There is no date right now for the 2024 Venezuelan election. It says by 2024 Wikipedia. And if you want to believe the polls, this was back in February. Maduro is actually second place in Poland.
Oh.
Well, of course, it was 1,200 people. It was done back in February. And, of course, Venezuela is very repressive, so you can't really necessarily trust the polls. But Maduro's second place? I mean, a repressive regime probably would not allow a poll like that to show up whatsoever. Unfortunately, though, the woman who's actually beating him right now in the polls is like this weird mix of, like, neo-lib and far-right piece of shit. So, I don't know if it's really an improvement for Maduro. She's all over the place when I looked her up. Like, really all over the place. Hardcore privatization of the economy, but also for, like, gay rights, abortion, stuff like that. It's really weird and messed up. But hey, as long as Venezuela has fair elections, becomes an actual democracy, and, of course, end the sanctions to make Venezuela not be a shithole, it's always a win-win. Alright, so, on to the next topic.
And the next topic is CNBC raging over Americans supporting strikes.
That's been covered, guys, like the last 2 years. Americans have been doing strikes to, get workers' rights and protections and all that crap. And, of course, this is about the United Auto Workers strikes that we covered, like, the last 2 months. Like, when Biden went to a rally. I think last episode we covered all that. And CNBC, which is a horrible TV channel that is perfectly aligned with business interests, the stock market, corporations, all that. They're like the evilest of evil people. And they have been mauled very bad about that. And when they found out a poll of how many Americans support the auto manufacturers, not the workers, the actual auto dealerships and all that, oh boy, did they have a meltdown.
AP's got a piece this morning on public approval of either the automakers or the unions. You want to know percentage that favor the automakers?
Oh my!
It's like 6%.
6% of Americans support the auto dealers during the strike. They overwhelmingly support the strikers, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And of course, the guy who's about to have a meltdown on the right, I don't want to say his name because he has the same name as a Hall of Fame monster truck driver who I like, and I don't want to disrespect his name by comparing him to him, so I'll just call you dipshit for the rest of the episode.
9%, something below 10.
I was shocked at that. I thought that perhaps there would be people who say, you know what, I have a F-150, I love it, and they do a great job, and the workers are being greedy, and no.
So, the logic of this, because I watched this video and I was laughing my ass off. So, if someone likes their Ford truck, therefore they should automatically like Ford or the corporate, the CEOs and the corporate owners of Ford and not the workers and think they're greedy? No.
Wow.
Which is funny because my mom is a Ford lover. She loves her Ford truck, but guess who she supports?
The workers.
How did you know that?
The workers.
Because it's obvious.
Oh, that was awesome.
And I know, Anna and Shank, but they covered the best video on it so far, so I had to bring them up here.
That was like the greatest thing I've ever seen. I'm sorry, can I just say one? Like when Jim Cramer looks defeated.
Oh, it was so good.
Oh, that was like
so funny. Watch him squirm in
like,
pain.
The workers win. I was like, yes, yes.
Cry more.
Our goal in life should be to defeat CNN.
And also, guys, and also, guys, just to say how bad this dipshit here is, because thankfully I just got a reminder from Kyle's video after I watched this video, and you know, like when you watch a YouTube video, it shows like 9 videos afterwards. I saw this as one of the videos. This guy, for all of you don't know, because I think we covered it somewhat, but we didn't actually say it. He actually said when the strike started a couple months ago that Ford and all the big three auto manufacturers should just ship the jobs to Mexico as a punishment. So this guy, just for you know, is full supportive of outsourcing. Like, these guys at CNBC support the corporate class and the rich no matter what. They don't care about workers. They want them to die. They want them as a punishment to ship the jobs to Mexico, which, hey, all you conservatives claim that's all corporations do, and that's why you hate immigrants and all that. Well, maybe you should support workers then, because these guys want to do the policy you claim to be against, so maybe you should support the workers for once, instead of being, oh, communism, socialism, and all that.
NBC anchors.
Dude, Jimmy boy, okay? Most Americans work, and they work hard, and they know what it's like to feel like they aren't getting their fair share. Most people don't have cushy jobs in front of a camera. Most people don't get paid, millions of dollars in broadcast media contracts. So the reason why he doesn't understand why Americans are supportive of the UAW workers.
A bubble I'm in? Oh, I hope it's not popped.
And their strike, it's because he doesn't understand what it means to be a worker. That's why that disconnect exists. He's like, wait, I don't understand. Isn't everyone heavily invested in the big three? And aren't they worried about the value of those shares going down? No, Jimmy.
Another bubble I'm in?
Most Americans want a fair wage. They want better working conditions. They want a piece of the pie that makes sense. That's the reality of the situation. So let's take a look.
Oh, you want? Hey, dipshit, you want to get really sad and angry hearing this? How about this one? The workers should get over half the revenue. You think he'll cry hearing that one?
Can I say one more thing about Jimmy Cramer's wonderfully defeated attitude?
You probably get to say something like, no, they should be allowed to fucking murder them.
Okay, 70% of the revenue then.
Americans would like their Ford 150.
How about I?
But wait,
how
finish
about
the
I
thought,
murder
Jim.
you then?
So then you thought,
100%, and
they
you
would
should
be
be,
like,
and you should be.
yeah, I'm so proud of those Ford
in Guantanamo
executives.
Bay.
I'm rooting for them.
Or maybe he should suffer and be a villager in a villager hall where he can't do anything.
That corporation so much.
And then we should torture him by having a zombie in a boat behind him.
Yeah.
I hope they make a couple of more $1 billion in
chased
profits
across
and
the
don't share it with their
entire
workers.
Hey, Jake,
Minecraft
who
world
built
by
Ford
an
Tough?
entire army
Who
of
did it?
zombies.
The CEO, the COO, the CFO. I mean, you really think that real Americans think that way? I mean, look at how detached from reality they are.
It's incredible. It really is.
They're like, how?
I mean, I like McDonald's food, I like Nintendo and all that, but do I like them as corporations? No.
Absolutely not.
How come they're not thanking the executives?
So,
remember, guys, it's always the workers that make the stuff, not the dipshit CEO billionaires and all that. All they do is sit on their asses and make money for doing absolutely nothing. They do nothing. The workers do everything, and therefore they should get all the money, not the CEO dipshits.
let's get to the
remember that,
poll
people.
that his co-host was referring to, which of course led to that reaction. So this was an AP NORC Center for Public Affairs research poll. And here's what they found. 36% of Americans do in fact sympathize with the workers in their dispute with the automakers. 9% support the automakers, just 9%. And the rest back either both or neither. Now, if you break it down based on political affiliation, 55% of Democrats sympathize with the workers. So, you know, that's
and look
that's
at
really,
that,
really
only
good.
22% of Republicans support workers. Or as we call, dipshit.
News.
Yep.
And only 5% sympathize with the automakers. 6 in 10 people in the AP NORC poll say they think better pay for the auto workers would be a good thing. 8 in 10 Democrats and just under half of Republicans say it would be a good thing if the workers got raises.
No
And
shit,
guess
it
what?
wouldn't
The
be.
strikers refuse to back
Holmes.
down. They're still on strike. And if anything, they're really heating things up, which I love to see. So after
Make them sad.
an unsuccessful
Make them rage.
meeting with
Make them
Ford
maul.
last
Make them
night,
build.
8,700
Make them
UAW
talk.
workers
Make
at
them
Ford's
mad.
largest plant in Louisville, Kentucky, walked
When
off
the
the
rich
job
suffer, it's good for all of us.
without prior warning,
Yep.
which is actually a new tactic for the union. The UAW has been announcing its strike decisions on Fridays since it began their walkouts nearly a month ago. So here's Sean Fain explaining their new tactic and decision.
Unfortunately, we've had to escalate our action. The bargaining committee here at Ford's been busting their asses, working hard for the membership. Vice President Browning and the whole team. You know, we came here today to get another offer from Ford. Unfortunately, this offer was the exact same offer they gave us 2 weeks ago. In our position, they're not taking us serious. We've been very patient.
Oh, yeah?
Working with the company
Well, how
on
about
this.
we make
At the end
them
of the
pay
day,
for their
they have not met
incompetence?
expectations. They're not even coming to the table on it. So at this point, we had to take action. Unfortunate that the company's put us in this position.
Walk
But
out.
they made it happen.
Walk
It's
out.
on them. They have to own it. You know, we've been doing things a certain way. Every Friday
yeah.
we've been doing Facebook
At Ford's biggest factory, almost 9,000 workers walked out.
Lives to
Yay!
make announcements. So we had to choose to do
No
things differently
trucks
this
be
way,
made,
and that's what we've
no
done this time.
money
So
for you.
the good thing about this is a flexible option. So we had to make a decision. The companies aren't going to come to the table and take care of the membership's needs. Then we will react. The bargaining committees, the vice presidents, and the membership are staying united, and that's how we're going to get this done.
Sean Fain, as far as I can tell, really does appear to be an excellent leader. Now, Ford has offered UAW members a 23% wage increase over the course of a 4-year contract, as well as cost of living adjustments. Now, the
23% wage increase over 4 years. That really does not sound that much. That probably
Not really.
that probably wouldn't even be enough to count for inflation, stuff like that. Like, guys, like we've been saying for years and years and years, $15 minimum wage. Yeah, we've been saying since 2015, and guess what? For a good chunk of the country, now, 8 years later, $15 wage is probably not even enough now anymore to even be enough.
No,
Like,
probably
$15
gonna be
wage
closer
was
to 20.
$15 was just the bare minimum. Now, yes, now it needs to be like up to 20 in a lot of places now. Yeah, so 20 an hour now is going to have to be the case.
Or even
for a lot
more
of places.
in places like California and safe and Foreigner, right, as well.
Yep, a whole bunch of places. $15 is not enough much anymore. So you're going to have to really bump that up.
SJW has demanded a 36% wage hike and significant improvements to retirement, healthcare, and other benefits.
Australia's minimum wage is $23 an hour, and that's not enough for Australia.
And to put that in perspective, federally our minimum wage is like $7.25. Like, think about that. Now, of course, states have
at that point, dude, your freaking minimum wage might as well be no dollars an hour.
Yeah. Now, thankfully, of course, states have their own minimum wages too. Like in 2025 or 26, Maryland's supposed to have finally 16 minimum wage, but of course, that's not gonna probably be enough at now or a time in the future. But it's a lot better than what it is federally. But yeah, it needs to go up much more than that to make enough to hang on. And 36. So the workers want 36% wage hike and significant improvements to retirement, healthcare, and other benefits. Honestly, unless it's like 36% increase like now, even that I don't think is going to be enough. They probably should try and maybe get more out of it, because they really need to get much better results.
In addition to that, considering the changing nature of automaking and the shift toward electric vehicles, Fain also wants union representation of workers at new battery plants that are still under construction. And to get a sense of just how significant this Ford plant walkout is, just listen to CNBC, and I gladly will, describe the factory.
It is the largest plant Ford has in the world. It is probably, by most in the industry, consider it the most profitable auto plant of any automaker in the United States.
Almost 20% of Ford's American truck production is done in this one factory. Almost 20% of Ford trucks are made in this one place in America.
Wow.
And they generate $25 billion a year, which is 1/6 of Ford's global revenue. Gee, maybe you shouldn't piss off your workers then if they generate that much revenue. Maybe you should just instantly cave into everything they want and just shut up and deal with it. That's what I think a smart businessman should do.
States.
Instantly
I mean, this is where 19.7% of their volume comes out of the Kentucky truck plant. And oh, by the way, the stamping facility and the part.
So, strike locations for United Auto Workers in a whole bunch of states, 3 from Ford, 20 from GM, and 21 from this other company
that are coming out of the Kentucky truck plant. They feed into about 13 other
looks like almost half of them are in Michigan alone.
Facilities upstream.
So just to give you a sense of how much money Ford is losing as a result of this specific walkout, they are expected to lose about $150 million per week, okay, in core profit from that Kentucky plant.
If you don't like losing all that money, Ford, then instantly cave into all the workers' demands and deal with it. That simple.
That's almost $250 a second they're losing. Every second they're losing over 200. They're losing almost $250.
Don't you love seeing them suffer?
Yes.
But like I said, if you don't want to lose money, then instantly cave into every single one of the workers' demands and shut the fuck up. That's what you do.
Instantly cave. American care about the $150 million in corporate profits we're losing.
I don't care about them. How about that one?
So, look, I don't know about the specific details of the negotiation. There's no way of knowing from the outside what's fair and not fair about what they should do with electric vehicle batteries, right? So I'm not commenting on that. But what's clear about Shawn Fain is that he's an American hero. And why do I say that? Look, this guy is, God, on the left, we are so starved for leaders, right? And strength. So number one, the guy understands PR. He puts out that video clearly explaining their position and why they did the walkout. Thank you. Union leaders for so long would do things, and then they would never explain it. And they would never effectively communicate it in the press. And then they would get blamed, right? No, he's like, look, we asked them for something new. It took 2 weeks. I thought we were going to get a new offer. And so when they insult us by not giving us a new offer and wasting our time, we said, all right, then we'll take, we'll go strike on that plan. And then when you cry that, oh my God, that plant makes $25 billion a year, Okay, then why don't you share some of that $25 billion? You fall right into his PR trap. I love this guy.
Exactly.
And so then you see that video of the workers. You know what they look like? They look like America, right? White, black, blue collar, working class. God, that was America, right? And he lines them all up behind him. He sends out the videos of them on the picket line, etc. And he's strong. This is how you're supposed to do it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, in response to
something that Democrats need to learn.
To the latest strike action, Ford, in a statement, called the...
Now, thankfully, Midwest Democrats actually do know how to operate properly like this, but East and West Coast Democrats still have yet to learn.
Look at Michigan.
Gee, maybe because Midwest Democrats aren't elitist retards like the East and West Coast.
Decision to strike or
No,
walk
it's
off the
because
job
they're not
in
corporate traitors.
the Louisville, Kentucky plant. Grossly irresponsible, but unsurprising given the union leadership's stated strategy of keeping the Detroit Three wounded for months through reputational damage and industrial chaos. Pay them what they're owed.
I'm losing $115 million a month at one place. It's not like I won't lose anything if I just instantly cave into all their demands. Oh, right. That's exactly what would happen. It wouldn't happen if I just caved everything they want.
The insane profits and the insane compensation package that the CEOs have been getting. $29 million in compensation in one example. Come on.
Forgive me for thinking that they don't deserve that $29 million.
The total number of UAW workers at the big three automakers, Ford, General Motors, and Jeep maker Stellantis to about 33,700, or roughly 22% of the union's workers at the Detroit automakers.
All right, last thing is, look, Republican voters, our beef with is with your leaders, the right-wing media, the politicians, etc.
And your
far-right
dipshit
Why are you only at 22% supporting the auto workers? Now, a lot of them also say both, to be fair, right? So
how the heck could you support both? There's only one side that deserves any sort of support, and that's the workers, and that's the end of it. But of course, that's probably the best we're gonna get from stupid Republicans.
But guys, you're also the average American worker, like we are, like everybody is.
I know, sir. Actually, you brown buffalo, we're temporary unmillionaires, don't you know? Sooner or later, we're gonna be millionaires, just like the rich, man.
Yeah, I mean, like the Democratic side, the left side, the right side. All real people are normal American workers. You gotta have solid.
And we care about wokeism and conservatism, and we'd rather fuck everyone else over. I mean, fuck ourselves over as long as we fuck over the people we hate. How about we trigger the libs that way?
Oh, they're already there, man. Don't listen to your right-wing media telling you that you should kiss the ass
we'll laugh. Make us laugh.
We'll laugh and sometimes feel sorry for you because your stupidity leads to, let's just say, bad outcomes for you. Like all the people that didn't get COVID vaccines and died for it. Not gonna laugh at you, but you did bring it on yourselves.
Worship their stock portfolios. No, stick up for the average guy.
Oh my God. So yeah, that sucks. You had to watch TYT because they suck. But yeah, what do you have to say about that video?
Well, that was good. Even if Chunk Yuga and Anna Turf Sparian had to be the ones to.
Incoming misogyny complaints, people.
Don't care. She's a turf.
She's a Karen.
She's more in alignment with Nazis than she is with the average lefty.
She's a Karen.
By the way,
how about that?
By the way, at least one of J.K. Rowling's associates is literally a turf neo-Nazi. So
yeah, you don't want to associate with those people, Anna. They're silly, like SJWs and evil. Like, don't go there.
Yeah.
You're already getting banned up, but don't go there. Oh my Kim, you probably already are there since you had your meltdown months ago. All right, we're getting off topic. So we gotta say about the auto workers making CNBC maul very much.
Love it, 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 love it.
Like I said, if you want the strike to end, then give in to everything they want, and that is final. You are still gonna be rich no matter what. So take the L. Take losing one less. Take that you're not gonna get one extra penny like Mr. Krabs, and shut up. Because the workers are right, and that's the end of it. If anything, I would say they need to demand even more and make you cry even more. How about that one?
Yes.
36% wage increase. Unless it's like instant, like next year. They need more than that.
Yeah, 100%. It'd be a doubling.
Yep. So, yeah. Fuck them and hope the workers succeed. Now, on to the next topic.
Trump doxes a judge against him. Why am I not surprised?
It's the judge that's doing his indictment crap, I think, too. Yeah. I would complain, but hey, as long as Trump won't shut up, it keeps hurting him more, so that's good for us. But I'm saying this, guys, we've been saying this for months. He will not shut up when it hurts him. He cannot shut up to save him, as he keeps sticking his foot right in his mouth. So, yeah, he doxed the judge recently, as she's faced racism, misogyny, and other sorts of threats now because of it. Good job, Trump.
Of course.
keep make it more likely that you're gonna lose, because you will not shut up.
He's gonna have he's gonna have the book thrown at him metaphorically, and they're literally gonna temporarily change the law to allow the judge to literally throw the book at him.
Trump,
I genuinely do think that. Like, after the crap she's had to go through, I genuinely think this judge should be allowed to literally throw the book at Trump.
Or throw a shoe at him like Bush.
Yes.
And he decided
should probably be a couple of shoes, because the book doesn't actually, because the book because he wouldn't read the book.
The Attorney General of New York, who caught him on fraud charges.
That's too much IQ to read a book, remember?
He goes to a court appearance, and he goes
that's too hard for an orangutan.
Making political attacks against prosecutors and against judges, etc., etc. Now, there's already a gag order in the Judge Chutkan case, and he's not allowed to attack any court staff and anything like that.
And is he going to listen to that?
No, of course not. He's Donald Trump.
Even when he's legally required, he will not shut up.
Of course, allowed to talk about Washington D.C.
But hey, it's good for us. So please keep talking. Keep making a fool of yourself and make it more like you're lose. Please go ahead.
People in the court or on the staff.
Keep going.
Yep.
And it's reasonable. Will they act?
Not only that, let's get him mad. Your daddy's an orangutan. You didn't provide your birth certificate, remember? Bill Maher is right.
Enforce the gag order if push comes to shove? I don't know, man.
Oh, I know what will get you really mad. You lost to Biden.
I couldn't doubt it. Doing a pretrial lockup of a former president seems like they'd be too afraid to do that. But he's already violated the gag order a number of times. Anyway, here he is outside of the court in New York City, and he goes after Letitia.
Guys, the amount of stuff Trump has done recently, and the fact that he's gotten away with it pretty much, is astonishing. Like, if this was, if this was anyone else, anyone else, if we did even 10% of what he did, we would have been locked up already. It would have already been done. But no, since he's a former president,
if we did 50% of what he did, we'd have been fucking extrajudicially assassinated.
Yeah,
we wouldn't have been given gone to trial. We would have been fucking shot in the middle of the street.
But because he's rich and the former president, all that, he gets away with doing stuff that no one else would. It's pathetic.
Listen to this.
We made a loan. We were very happy with the loan. We got paid back.
And even then, he still can't shut the fuck up.
He would do it again. He was a very powerful witness.
And at least Hillary Clinton eventually, decided to fuck off and only pop up occasionally.
That will say the same
thing. You can't even do that.
Situation. This is an attorney general, Letitia, that went out and campaigned on, I will get Trump. I will get Trump no matter what. I'll get Trump. I promise I'll get it. We have 2 tapes on her now that have come out since the trial because people took tapes of her because they couldn't believe it.
I mean, you kind of brought on yourself, you orangutan.
Yep.
Like, if you didn't do the stuff you did, you wouldn't be facing all this criminal stuff. Like, how many of them? How many indictments you faced? I've lost count how many of it is. Like you got
91 at last. The last I can remember is 91.
Like, you keep bringing this on yourself, and I'm telling you, if you shut up, you would have a lot better chance. But you keep just open. You just keep talking, and talking. You cannot shut up.
For ranting and raving like a lunatic.
Which, hey, like I said, it's good for us. Keep talking. Keep talking.
The Attorney General. She's defrauded the public with this trial. She said that
the more you talk, the less likely you win, which is good for us.
Yep, which is good for the whole universe.
And the most expensive house.
Not just the world, because I swear his evil influence has gone off world.
A place in Boulder, Florida, was worth $18 million when it's worth approximately.
Probably even the solar radiation is repulsed
so,
by
look,
him.
He's lying about this too. The $18 million number is what the Trump people said it was worth to pay a low tax bill. The most it's worth, the highest estimate, is $75 million. They've said it's worth $1 billion. They've said it's worth $1.5 billion. You said it's the most expensive property in the world or something like that. And they also don't tell you that, like, for resale value, it would be a lot lower than you expect because it's a very restricted property legally. Something like 30% of the money for the sale has to go to some conservation thing in Florida. It can only be used as a club. It can't be used as a residential property if it's sold. So they're just lying. He's lying. And
Conservatives
again,
supporting conservationism?
No. I don't know.
They'll do what Daniel Snyder did when he bought his mansion 2 decades ago and tear down the wetlands.
James one, but man, he is skating on thin ice.
Based on her convincing the judge that Mar-a-Lago was worth $18 million instead of $1 billion to $1.5 billion, which would sell very easily, which we've already proven, but we'll have people come up and say that and prove it, the most important people, the brokers that make the sales. But based on that, he ruled against me. He ruled fraud. I mean, he said fraud. They are the fraudulent people.
He's unbelievable. I mean, this is just such a lie. It's all such a lie. We've gone through all the details and the specifics. He said his apartment was 30,000 square feet. It's 11 square feet. It's 11,000 square feet. It'd be funny if it was 11 square feet. Instead, like, this is Trump's apartment, little gold, like, porta potty size thing. Anyway, he said it was 30,000 square feet. It's 11,000 square feet. He told these brazen, over-the-top, ridiculous lies. And guys, the important point is the reason he did it. He would undervalue the property to pay low taxes. Then he would overvalue it when he's trying to sell a property or he's trying to promote a property or if he's trying to get a loan from a bank on favorable terms. That is bank fraud. He also did insurance fraud. He also did tax fraud. The list goes on and on. But look, he's doing his rant against Letitia James. Then we also got this news.
Frauds.
Trump Post article doxing New York Attorney General Letitia James home address.
That sounds about right for his
Judge
ilk.
Engoron needs to expand his gag order to protect New York AG Letitia James. I mean, that seems reasonable if you ask me. Trump posted an article from far-right personality Laura Loomer attacking New York Attorney General.
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Laura Loser, jeez.
I have not heard that name in quite a while.
Against me should be dropped immediately. My financial statements are extremely conservative.
One she to want to instigate all the terrorist attacks around the world, or is there a different Laura?
No, that was Lauren Southern.
There we go.
Her numbers were way up.
Laura Loomer was the one who chained herself up to the Twitter entrances because she got de-verified.
I swear there's so many stupid Karens named Lauren around here that are so stupid. Just
I think we can say that the new one for crazy bitches on the right, it's not Karen, it's Laura. Okay, Laura.
Okay, Laura. Get triggered.
The undervalued Mar-a-Lago, blah, 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 blah.
Yay, now we can be called misogynist again. Yay.
Apparently it includes her home address. In the article
We're
shared by Trump,
misogynist even though we want women's rights. That seems weird.
Even though we believe in equality, and in fact, we even think that in some ways women are better than men.
Information and/or home address of an individual
that's
is called
evil,
doxing.
remember?
Now, look, doxing is actually not illegal. Maybe there's some states where it's illegal.
How is it not illegal to dox people? Like, come on, are you serious?
Does this violate the gag order?
Guys, do we need? Oh my God. Doxing is just as bad as freaking swatting. That should be illegal everywhere. Like, come on.
Yeah.
We don't need a situation, what happened several years ago in Kansas, I think it was, where a gamer got killed because they were swatted. We don't need, I think it was a neighbor that got swatted because they got the wrong address. The neighbor got killed.
So,
we don't need the script.
That the gag order was made, but there should certainly be a gag order over this
don't need
too.
This crap.
This is dangerous, man. This is dangerous. There's now going to be a lot of threats. Lord only knows what happened. There might be people who show up to her house.
I will not be surprised if she ends up dead.
To it and is not backing down. It's like, look, homie, you committed fraud. That's the end of the conversation.
Or at least wounded.
In here,
because
we know how violent Trumpsters can get.
What your sentence going to be. And remember, he's going to totally lose his business license in New York. It could be up to a $250 million fine. So he's in a hell of a lot of trouble, and that's why he's this desperate. And that's why he's throwing Hail Marys.
Let's make it worse for me. Man.
So
let's make it so that they'll be like, you know what? Just shoot him.
But at the same time,
fucking shoot him.
You shouldn't dox the.
That's probably what the judges.
That's
what the judge will want to be like.
Political attacks.
Just shoot him.
Veiled threats. And
seriously,
threats,
just shoot him.
He knows in the court of law he's in serious.
In the mouth.
All right,
So
guys,
that
that's
he
the
can't-
show.
or tune
I
him in
love
the
y'all very
voice
much.
box
Everybody
so
do me a
he
big
can't
favor.
actually
Please click like,
speak.
please click subscribe.
And that way he won't be crying in his deathbed anymore. Oh my god. Oh my god, what an idiot he is. So yeah, we have to see about this. Trump doxing a judge against him. Of course, are you surprised?
No. And finally, something big for the final topic.
Yep.
The Kraken turns on Trump.
Yep. Sidney Powell flipped on Trump as a plea bargain to try and get out of trouble against Trump. So yeah, of course, pretty much admit that she lied about everything about 2020, which we already knew that. So yeah, let's see this now.
Is Sidney Powell, one of the top lawyers that was working for Donald Trump after the 2020 election. She is pleading guilty in the election subversion case.
Well, how about that? Sidney Powell, one of Donald Trump's top lawyers during his 2020 election claims that the election was stolen from him, has now pleaded guilty. So, in this video, I'm going to break this down. I'm going to show you what this may mean for Trump. And I'm also going to go down memory lane with a clip from Sidney Powell when she was first putting out her crap. And just, it was always clear that she was completely full of trash. She even admitted this herself 2 years ago. So we'll get to that as well. But let me first get to what this is all about. So the charges Powell pleaded guilty to on Thursday stem from her effort to access voting machines in Coffee County, Georgia, after the 2020 election. Powell and others involved in that effort claimed they were investigating allegations of voter fraud. Powell's plea came as a surprise because she and her defense attorney had vigorously insisted in recent days that she had done nothing wrong and that she had explicit permission from local officials to access the machines. And then, with the trial set to start on Monday, she had a change of heart. So Powell's guilty plea, which she entered in a court hearing in Atlanta, makes her the first member of Trump's close advisors to admit to crimes related to the 2020 election. She had been slated to go on trial Monday in Fulton County on charges that she joined Trump in the alleged racketeering conspiracy and helped engineer the breach of election equipment in a Georgia county. This is a very important domino. I will say, even if nobody flipped on Trump, I think there's enough there to, I hope, at some point, maybe if we're lucky, put him behind bars. But having people like Powell flip, especially someone like Powell flip, someone who is a prominent member of this, is a very important piece to just add to the already overwhelming evidence against Donald Trump. So let me get to the important piece of that here from CNN.
She also is agreeing, as part of this deal, to testify at future trials. So Sidney Powell is lined up, essentially, to go to trial at the end of this week alongside one other defendant in that case, another lawyer, Ken Chesbrough. She's not going to be going to trial now, so she's taking this plea deal. She will not have that trial. She will also be in a situation where prosecutors will be recommending her to avoid jail time as part of this deal. But it's significant that not only is she avoiding the trial, not only is she putting in this guilty plea, that she is very likely to become a witness against Donald Trump and the others as they go to trial in Georgia. And there's a lot here at stake, not only in Georgia, but also in the federal court in D.C., where another criminal case against the former president exists and where Sidney Powell has been identified as a top co-conspirator there. And so what this means for Donald Trump going forward is it's not good.
Not good. Believe me, not good.
Not good. That's a wonderful place to end that clip. So here you have the, what's it called? The chickens coming home to roost? Or is it the hens? Somebody's roosting something.
Chickens.
So you have here Sidney Powell being served up on a plate for this entire case in their bid to do everything possible to get Trump, even though they clearly have enough already. But why not add, another rooster or chicken or something on the pile? So
he's crying like Crying Obsidian. There you go.
The story alone. If I ignore everything else going on,
Crying Obsidian is more useful.
But here we have this is Sidney Powell On November 15th, 2020, so this is shortly after, of course, the election, here she is on Fox News at the time. Fox News, their Sunday show, so this is like one of their flagship important Sunday, or the Sunday morning show. And check out what she was saying at the time.
Because we're fixing to overturn the results of the election in multiple states, and President Trump won by not just hundreds of thousands of votes, but by millions of votes that were shifted by this software that was designed expressly for that purpose.
I think Dole gets into this, but guys, you want to know how silly this conspiracy is? That
Hugo.
Oh my god, it's so stupid. I think Dole's gonna come. I'll just keep my
President
mouth shut.
Trump, he definitely won the election by millions of votes. This is where she was blaming the Dominion voting systems, which at the time, this is back in December 2020, they were demanding Sidney Powell retract the baseless election claims, which, in case you forget how amazing these were, this is so incredible. Made several public appearances claiming without evidence that Dominion's machines were involved in an international communist conspiracy to commit voter fraud and rig the election against President Trump. Specifically, Powell claimed that the company worked with Hugo Chavez, the late Venezuelan dictator. Yes, the late. The man, not a...
You know what that means, guys? Chavez is dead. He's been dead since 2013, and he has somehow rigged the election against Trump. How? Like, how can a dead person do this? Like, you gotta see it right off the bat, this is silly.
Alive. And employed machines with a vote-flipping algorithm. God. So, she was then sued. I was forgetting the word for a second. I'm like, facing a lawsuit? No, she was then sued by Dominion for defamation. And facing defamation, Sidney Powell's defense of this says no reasonable person thought her election fraud.
Yes, I remember that.
This is the exact same argument that Tucker Carlson used in court when he was faced with a lawsuit, and for him it worked.
So, I don't know, but it did.
I don't know.
Evil,
it's an amazing defense, because you can at this point, you're saying you can say anything. Say whatever the hell you want. And as long as you can defend yourself by saying, well, sure, I said this crazy thing that clearly isn't true, but no person would believe me, which would essentially render defamation
well, that's the thing. Reasonable. Yeah, reasonable people. Like
but no Republicans are reasonable though.
Yeah, reasonable people are us. Yeah, we're not going to buy it. Republicans, on the other hand, are not reasonable, so therefore they're going to take anything that says "Daddy Trump won." So it should be obvious.
If you could just use that as the defense, like forever, in any case, then why would there ever be any successful defamation suit? But let me play for you, since it's worth watching. Just this happened in real time. Here is Sidney Powell in court while she is pleading guilty.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Powell, I've been handed a document that's titled Plea of Guilty Form. Is this your signature as well on the second page?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
And ma'am, do you understand that this is a negotiated plea, which means that your attorney and I have reached an agreement, or the state has reached an agreement as to the proposed sentence that will be made to the court? I do. Do you understand that the recommendation being made to the court as to this accusation on counts 1 through 6 that should be sentenced to 12 months of probation to run consecutive with one another? I do. Do you understand that the state is asking that a $6,000 fine be imposed, a restitution of $2,700 be paid to the state of Georgia, an apology letter be written to the citizens of the state of Georgia, that you truthfully testify at all hearings and proceedings and trials involving the co-defendants in this matter, and that you have no communication with co-defendants, media, or witnesses until this case has been completely closed against all defendants? I do.
She is
wonderful.
It's like she's really getting out of it clean. Like, let's see, things that like a year of probation, up to like maybe $10,000 in fines or something like that, and that's it. Like, man, she is really, really getting out of it without really any sort of consequences.
Wonderful to watch that happen. And you still have to think that the people that support Trump don't care. I
Well,
don't
we already
think
know
this will
that.
impact.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
are
of
still
course
on the
they
mega
don't.
train, this plea by Sidney Powell is not going to do anything for you. You're not going to care.
Mm-hmm.
She's a
'Cause you've done
traitorous
this far.
cunt, is what they'll scream.
Why would you stop now? But this has so the result of this is in addition to serving probation and writing the apology letter, Powell agreed to pay a $6,000 fine and restitution.
A year of probation, an apology letter, and $8,700. Whoop-de-doo.
$700.
Yeah.
This is a minor slap on the wrist.
This is not even minor. This probably doesn't
considering
affect her
what
whatsoever.
She's been facing, the lie she told, the impact that Sidney Powell has had on the brains of millions of Americans. For this to be
what brains?
The
They're
result
like
of that,
Billy. Their brains,
what?
their nose.
Yes. I would reject.
Yes.
Forget it. We have
And
enough on
remember
Trump.
that Billy has canonically got an IQ of -5.
The man with no brain, as Mandy showed.
Get your guilty
Yep.
plea. No, you're gonna
Like
go
I said,
down with
no
it because
brain
you
and
were-
an IQ in the negatives.
Oh wait, no, he does have a brain. It's his nose, remember?
Yep.
You were integral.
I wonder how Harold
into
got
this
then.
entire BS.
I guess what happens when you
But
eat too busy eating 12
I guess
pieces
they
while
figured it
throwing
helps
up.
their case against Trump.
Yeah.
If it does, then sure. Okay, we'll see. But yeah, we'll see. Who knows? I'm glad she's admitted guilt, I guess. I guess that's a good thing. But as long as it does something to Trump, because if it doesn't, then you might as well have brought her down with him.
So yeah, what do you guys see about that? Powell turning on Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Quite surprising, but
Yeah.
hopefully it'll lead to good results, although it still is a slap on the wrist. No, not a slap on the wrist. She's getting out of it clean without any sort of punishment whatsoever.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. She is.
But yeah, she's getting out of it pretty clean. But hopefully it will lead to more of Trump's downfall. And I'm just going to be sitting back and laughing and eating popcorn and just enjoying it.
Yep.
His suffering is enjoyment for us. Great, guys. So with that, we've covered all the topics. So see you all next time for episode 88.
See you then.